I'm Millie. I'm one of the residential volunteers here at Forsinard. I grew up close to the Black Isle in the Highlands, and I have seen the bog before, been around the peatlands. I'd visited this reserve before, but I think, like a lot of people, I didn't really understand exactly what was here. I'm loving exploring the area, exploring the peatlands, and just all around getting to experience life on the bog. A massive role of peatland in terms of what it does for the environment is its role as a carbon sink. So it takes carbon from the atmosphere and then stores it within the peat. I think it's really important that everyone considers peatland, because I think it's very much forgotten and possibly even thought of as a wasteland in some ways. But it's very important, if not more important, compared to other carbon sinks in terms of what it's doing for the environment, especially as we're going through things like climate change, when we need to really be thinking about how we can best use the environment to our advantage and help get rid of some of the carbon in the atmosphere. So a lot of this forestry was planted when there was a big tax break and they were trying to encourage people to plant forestry. But what that actually did in order to plant all the forestry is they did a lot of draining of the bog. And so that's not what we want, because it means the bog kind of ceases to become a bog and becomes forestry, and not healthy forestry. You can see here we're in part of the standing forestry. And it's just full of trees that are very densely packed together, and if you look around you can see that everything's quite dead, it's not very happy. You can see just where all the drainage ditches have been put in, these drainage furrows here, and that means that any water leaching down from the bog is then just drained straight away and isn't let to lie in the soil. When they're here and so densely packed, no light can get down, which just means that nothing else can grow here. We're in the felled forestry. It might look pretty destructive, but this is actually part of the restoration process for the peatlands and the bog. So this has been a mammoth task really, even just getting to this stage. And don't be fooled into thinking that this is just the one-step process, so that this is it and now we can just leave it. There's still so much work that needs to be done in order to keep this land healing. You can still see the furrows here from where all the drainage ditches were when it was forestry. And so this all needs to be smoothed over, and eventually it will just improve slowly over time. I think it does look pretty dire when you look at it. You might think, oh, I don't know what's going on here. This isn't what I thought RSP Reserve would look like. It maybe doesn't scream restoration, but yeah, actually I think it's hope, you know. It's starting the process of, you know, it's not going to be a short process, but eventually this land could turn back into what it once was.
Why is it good to see this here?
So when we've got sphagnum like this, it means that the ground is soaking up the water again. So the water level is rising, and it means that the restoration is working. Before this was all standing forestry, so behind you can see the kind of remains of where the felling has been done, and you can see that there's still furrows there and the remains of some of the trees, but essentially all the water that's running down is now collecting here whenever it rains. All of this really means that eventually this area can become bog again, and it is very early on in the process, but it's a really great sign that the restoration is working. It's not going to take just 10, 20 years to get it back to the way it was. It's going to take, you know, upwards of 50. And it's not going to be something that's going to happen in necessarily older people's generations. It's something that was done, you know, before young people's time, and is going to very much affect them, and it's going to be something that young people are going to have to work towards in order to get it to how it should be.
You're ready to finish the job?
Yes.